Political opinion is the way to go.
Welcome back to Whatever It Takes. I'm your host, Curt Schilling. Thursday, January 12th, 2017, 877-240-1776. You can follow me at Gehrig38 on Twitter. That's like Lou Gehrig. Speaking of the phones, we will go out to the phones. And our buddy who joined us yesterday, Mr. Pinko from Connecticut. What's up, Chief?
Curt, how you doing, man?
Good, sir. How are you? What's on your mind?
All right, just two things. First, I wanted to comment on the poster boy for term limits, McCain. And our forefathers, when they did the Constitution and they wrote all, the Declaration, and they set, this whole country with a genius document, there was only one thing that they didn't foresee in the future, and that was, term limits, because the term limits back then was just their natural lifespan.
Right.
They didn't live as long. They didn't foresee us living into our 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s and seeing Congress and Senate, making a lifetime career of politics.
Yep.
So that's my comment on that. That's the only thing they didn't see in the future is lifespans expanding.
I mean, when you think about that document and you think about how long ago it was written and how it is still absolutely iron, except for obviously the portions about slavery in and around slavery and women's rights and the things that we fought through and that we got put in place. Is it not the perfect document? I mean, I always laugh when I look around the world at countries that are looking for guidance from a potential document. Why they don't just take the Constitution? And I'll tell you, honestly, the reason is because the Constitution gives the power to the people.
Absolutely, yeah. But they didn't foresee, guys living 70, 80, and
right.
being
That's
in
exactly
Congress
right.
40, 50 years. It's ridiculous.
Yep.
I don't care if a congressman is great, a senator is great. It should be a term limit no matter what.
Well, here's the thing.
Because time corrupts politicians.
Yes. When you don't have when you don't have time as an urgency, when you don't have time as a potential guideline, there is no urgency to get stuff done. And if you think about this, look at our presidents. Look what our presidents do. They run and then they get elected, and there's their first 100 days, and halfway through their first term, 2 years in, they're running for re-election. They're not focusing on being the president. And
Obama ran constantly.
Right, but
constant running. Yeah.
And I'm okay with that to some degree in the White House because I think the infrastructure around them allows them to do their job and run blah blah blah. But these senators and congressmen do the same. You look at 2, 4, 6 year intervals in some cases. They're not even serving. They're just spending their entire time running for re-election. And I did not think. Again, I'm devastated to say this because Senator McCain is someone I have an enormous amount of respect for the amount of service. And let me just tell you real quick why. Because you're a consistent listener, for you people tuning in, I'm going to tell you why I absolutely have been a huge fan of Senator McCain. When he ran for president, I supported him, and I advocated for him, and I ran around and did things for him for this reason. I want my president to be a person of integrity, to be a person that when the cameras are not on and the doors are closed and no one can see you, you still make the morally and ethically right decision. In the Vietnam War, when he was a prisoner of war and he was being tortured and beaten, there were no cameras, there were no votes, there were no TV shows, there were no contracts. There was just his morals and his ethics. He was given a chance to leave and be set free. And when all the lights were off and he was by himself, he made the morally and ethically right choice that most people wouldn't have made. And I looked at that and I said, listen, I can disagree with some of the things that he says or does, but I can trust him. And that was why I became such a huge fan. And that's why it's so hard for me to watch him do and say the things he's doing now.
All right. To switch topics, I want to go back to yesterday, and I wanted to get your thoughts on what do you thought of Trump's press conference?
Well,
do you think he was presidential?
Oh, well, you know what? He was and he wasn't. He was presidential in the places he needed to be, and he started to not be presidential in the places I wanted him to not be presidential in. What he did yesterday, I would argue that every single person that pulled a lever or punched a card or filled in a ballot for President-elect Trump, every single one of us wants to say what he said to the CNN reporter. Every single one of us. And
yep.
that was he was doing that, and here's the thing. He was doing that for us. And I don't think he meant to do it for us, but I'm watching that going, yes. He just, and I use the term loosely, and I don't mean to. I said he gave CNN their headshot yesterday. Playing Call of Duty. That is the beginning, if they're not already on the way down, to the end of CNN as a legitimate news source. And then to see them.
We predicted it yesterday.
Yes.
I even said when I called in, I said it's going to be a headbutting. Who's going to be in control? And Trump took the bull by the horn.
Yep.
Now, I woke up this morning, and what's the Yahoo? I woke up to this Yahoo headline. Scathing response to Trump's Nazi comment. The Anne Frank Center, the comments on it. And what prompted his outburst? These are the headlines we're seeing.
Oh, yeah.
And I predicted it yesterday. We did. That they were going to focus on one stupid... I was going to curse, sorry.
No.
I'm a New Yorker.
But hey, that's what's going to happen his entire presidency from the left. So we have to... it's good that we're getting this quick primer because we need to be ready going forward. I think there's a couple of points here to be made. What's your first name? What's your real first name? I don't want to call you Peter.
It's Mr. Pinko. Just
okay, all right, MP. Here's the thing. We are learning that we can no longer rely on people for news from our president. And our president is not using traditional forms of media to talk to us. That's okay. I think that works.
Right.
And you know what's going to happen? Listen, let me ask you something. What company on this planet is going to put advertising on a BuzzFeed website? Do you want to be associated with that crap? And the same thing.
Idiotic lefty company.
Yes, but it's going to be a hardcore left extreme thing. And I would argue you're getting the same thing from CNN. The CNN, and so he called them out. And basically, I said earlier in the show, the president has no legal obligation or moral obligation or any obligation to speak to any media outlet anywhere in the world. It's a courtesy. It was done, I don't know if you remember, in the early days of the White House press corps, they would literally come into the Oval Office or the entryway of the White House, and they would stand there, and that was how the press corps got informed. And the presidents did that as a favor to the media to allow them to get the message out to the people. Well, here's news for you people. The media has stopped conveying the president's message and started conveying its own message. And I would include Fox News in that as well, because Shepard Smith, you know what, throw him out with the bathwater. I'm tired of him too.
I can't stand them.
No, they have an agenda. And I'm not saying all of them, but most of them have an agenda. And you saw Jake Tapper try and absolve CNN from any wrongdoing yesterday. Instead of apologizing, he said, we didn't do it. As if he was splitting hairs. But MP, that's exactly what we're dealing with going forward. And it's people like you.
I'm for a strong press.
Yes, we all are.
Media questioning the president. But just to A/B Obama and Trump. Trump's going to run rings around Obama. When did Obama do a press conference like that?
Right.
And take questions from? He never even took questions from Fox News.
Right. Right, no, he doesn't have. Listen, I think he recognizes. Although you did see Matthew Boyle from Breitbart get a question yesterday, which I thought was pretty awesome. Because I think, listen, I'm going to tell you, and I don't have any hesitation saying this. If Trump does something stupid, I will be the first person to say it was stupid. If he says something stupid or does something stupid, I'm my first and foremost commitment is to the people of the United States of America doing there's a responsibility that comes with doing this job. I take this very much as serious as I took my baseball job, in the sense that I wasn't being paid to play baseball. I was being paid to win games. And it's a very different. In this job, I'm being paid to help inform people. It's one of the reasons why, as I think about running for Senate and all the things that go with that, I don't know that I can have as much of an impact in the Senate as I could doing this. And so I'm weighing those things, because a senator doesn't dictate local policy. A senator is someone who takes their constituents' concerns to D.C. And Elizabeth Warren is trying to take free education to the American public, which is an absolute joke, and especially considering where we are from a financial perspective. But, hey, Pinko, thanks for the call, bub. I'll talk to you soon.
Mr. Pinko rocks.
I'm Roger Stone. Check out politiopinion.com.